We go to the main methods used in sociological investigation, their strengths and limitations. So we're going to start with questionnaires, which is same as the social survey. So what are questionnaires? Questionnaires are standardized questions used in social survey. When we talk about a social survey, it's just a systematic collection of information from a survey. That is what social survey is. Do you get my point? Yes. Okay. So we go further. So for questionnaires and social survey, I wrote, we have different types of questionnaires. We have the closed questions. For closed questions, these are questions that provide a set of answers for the participants. So they can choose from options available. That's what we call closed or pre-coded question. Clear?
Yes.
Then what are the advantages of having a closed question? One, it is easier to analyze the results. So like when you answer your MCQs, you tell me you take this one away first, you take this one away first. Then you have two answers that you want to choose from. That means you are able to do analysis.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yes.
The problem is that some respondents might want to give answers. Sometimes you want to give answers that are not part of the options.
So you're gonna get different answers, different. So
You get the point I'm making there. So that's about closed questions. Like I said, closed questions are questions that provide answers or options for participants to choose from. That's why we call it closed questions. And for closed questions, the advantage, like I said earlier, is that it's easier for you to analyze the results. Because they are open, they are closed questions. That means you have answers within to choose from. So you can make your analysis from there. But the problem about it is that sometimes participants want to, this is which is more like a closed question. The answers are like, do you agree strongly? Or disagree strongly? They are closed questions too, but they are scaled. Your answers will be weighed, will be measured.
you agree or not?
No, it's not going to be like just a yes or no something. It's going to be like how big your answers are, how small your answers are. Oh, I strongly agree. I strongly disagree. I disagree. They are not the same. I strongly disagree means you disagreed so much. Oh, I disagree. So these are what we call scaled questions. They are close questions too, but they are scaled. They have weight in terms of their response. Do you get it?
Yes.
Then we have open-ended questions or open questions. This is where respondents are able to write their own answers. That's why I call it open-ended questions. Here, you have the opportunity to write what you feel about the questions. So this brings about qualitative data. Qualitative. Yeah, because it talks about your thoughts, your own ideas. That's qualitative. You get it?
Yeah.
Then we go to ways of administering surveys. So we start with self-completion questionnaire, which is also self-administered questionnaire. Respondents answer the question without any guidance from the researcher. That's why I call it self-completed. You don't get it?
No, I mean, how's the question?
When we have to administer questionnaires, there are different ways we can administer questionnaires. There are different ways we can bring out questionnaires. The first one is through the self-completion questionnaires. For self-completion questionnaires, these questions are answered by the participants without involving the researcher. So the questions are sent maybe via post. So they are sent via the post. So the participant just receive it and he or she fills it, answer the question without having a contact with the researcher. That's self-completion.
You mean like content, physically or like no?
Physically or through phone call, nothing. Just have to answer the questions and submit. Everything has to be done by you alone. So nobody is going to, you're not involving the researcher. That's what we call self-completion. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So ways of improving with response rates when it comes to self-completion. One, why sending the letter? Explain some details. So for you to get response back, for you to get feedback from a self-completion questionnaire, you must send the letter you are sending, that questionnaire you are sending, you must put details into it. So it becomes easier for the participants to be able to answer the questions. Yeah. 2, stamped address envelope should be sent. So it must have an address and a stamp. so that the respondent will be able to know where to address it back to.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yes.
That's about that. The third one, I wrote follow-up must be done to those who do not respond. You must follow up. You've sent it and you are not getting feedback. Do follow up.
Do you follow up like?
Reach out to them
Ah,
to know why they have not returned the questionnaire. Is it clear?
yes. Yes.
And the last thing I wrote here is about questionnaires should be made easy and short to complete. It should be made easy and short to complete. If not, the participant might just abandon it because it doesn't have time to waste. Clear?
Yes.
So this takes us to structured interview. For structured interview, I wrote, this is an interview which the questions are standardized and the replies produce quantitative data. For the difference here, the first one we talked about, what I'm talking about is for these questionnaires, for questionnaires, what we get from them is qualitative, especially when it comes to self-completion questionnaires. But when it comes to structured interviews, here they are done to get quantitative data. Do you get it?
Yes.
The response are what quantitative data. Why? Because it might be maybe through a phone call.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Or maybe face-to-face conversation. So they are standardized and the response are always quantitative. Do you get the point here?
Yes.
So what are the guidelines for a good questionnaire? Number one, a good questionnaire must be short as much as possible. It must not be so long that discourages participants to answer.
Yes.
So, okay, yeah. Guidelines for a good questionnaire. Number one, a good questionnaire must be short as possible. That means the questions you are submitting or the questions you've put together must not be so long that will discourage participants to answer. That's the first one.
Yes.
The second one, instructions for completing it should be easily understood. So the instructions you are given, because there will be instructions there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before you answer questions, there are always instructions, yes or no?
Yes.
So the instructions must be those instructions that are easily understood. If not, the participant will just give wrong answers or would not do what he or she is supposed to do. The third point, there should be as many questions as possible to collect information needed. You get it? So it's a research.
Yeah.
You need certain information. So all the questions you have to put across must be questions that will cover all the information you need. That makes it a good questioning. Is it clear?
Yes.
Questions should not be leading questions. Meaning, what do I mean by questions should not be leading questions? The questions must not give participants the answers. You must not give, the question must not be a question that participants can quickly give an answer to.
They have to think.
Yeah. So don't give them a lead. Don't give them a clue on what the questions are going and the answers are supposed to be.
Ah, yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
The last one here, questions should only be asked about things participants are likely to know about and able to give meaningful answers. Don't go beating around the bush. Ask them questions that you think they know about and they can give meaningful answers to, because that is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? You want quality answers. So if you want quality answers, you need to know the kind of people you need to ask. That is the point there. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that takes us to this is how his questionnaire looks like. Yeah, you see it. Yeah. So go down. Now we go to strengths and limitation of self-completion questionnaires. The first strength or advantage is that one, they are cheaper as they can be distributed through post. It's cheaper. It's not like structured interview that takes time. You can just distribute this cut across anywhere through poster. So large numbers of questionnaires can be posted irrespective of the geographical location. If it is structured interview, that means physically you have to be there. Can you be everywhere? No. But if it is poster, you can send poster to everywhere, irrespective of the geographical location.
Yeah.
Clear.
Yes.
The third point, the researcher is not present, which means no influence on answers given. Because the participant or the researcher is not there. It's a self-completion questionnaire. The researcher is not going to be available. So that means the researcher cannot influence your answer as a participant.
Yeah, because they might give it like hint or something.
Yeah, you get it.
Yes.
And that might make the research valid.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So the next one is it will be completed at participants' convenience, no harm. You won't be harming the participant because the participant will do it at when he feels like he wants to do it. Is it clear?
Yes.
You won't be inconveniencing the participant. That's the point.
Yeah.
So what are the problems about what are the problems about no? I think are they okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
That's good.
We are good. Okay. So what are the problems about self about structured interview? Number one, the response rate might be low compared to structured interview. You know, it's self-completed. The problem about self-completed here is that people might not respond. People might not submit it. They might not even check it. And they might, that's why we said you have to do follow-up. So one of the problems is that you might not get a feedback as soon as you want it.
Yeah.
That's why follow-up is done. You get that? Two, questions may be misunderstood as researcher is not always present. So the questions will be understood the way the participant think the questions are. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that means the participant might misunderstand the question, which means the participant is going to give an answer that does not relate to the question.
Yes.
You get that's another problem there. The third one, the researcher cannot be sure about who answered the questions. The researcher would have addressed the questions to you, knowing fully that you are supposed to answer the questions, but you might give it to someone else to do.
Yeah.
So the participant or the researcher is not certain that you are the one that filled or that answered the questions. Clear?
Yes.
The last one, participants might leave some questions unanswered. So the ones you don't understand, you might just leave it and submit it like that.
Yeah.
Which is not good because you needed information.
It might sometimes it's like not it's not technical.
Okay.
Yeah.
We go to strengths and limitations of structured interview now. For structured interview, the first strength is that since the researcher is available for structured interview, since the researcher is available, participants can ask questions. So these things you don't understand, you can easily ask as a participant or respondent. So the interviewer can probe as more questions could be asked. What I'm saying here is that, you know, when the interviewer is there, the researcher is there. So in the course of answering the questions, in the course of the respondent answering the questions, some new questions might come up, which means the interviewer can probe further, which might be good for the research. But for self-completion, it's not possible.
It's only one question. Yes, I get it.
Okay. The third one, the response rate is higher than self-completion questionnaire. You get the feedback immediately because you are there.
Yeah.
You are there because you need the feedback.
Yes.
And the fourth one, the interviewer may be able to set up good relationship with the participants. You might have a good rapport with the participants. Yes or no?
Yes.
Then what are the problems about structured interview? One, interviewers may influence the answers given by participants, making the survey invalid. Influence.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Two, they are expensive as they take time. Interviews take time. Yes or no?
Yes.
The third one, participants might give socially desirable answers. What we're talking about here is that participants might just give you an answer that everybody thinks is the right answer, which might be wrong. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. The last one. If several interviewers are used, they may approach their work differently. That means we might get different answers because it's not going to be one interviewer used here. So several interviewers will be used. As a result, they will approach the work differently. So which means you might be getting different answers. When you collate everything together, they might give you different answers, which make the research not reliable.
Yes.
This is not self-completed. This is structured interview.
Yes.
For structured interview, each interviewer will have his own approach to use. So your approach might give good answers. My approach might give bad answers.
Yes, I get it.
Is it clear now?
Yes.
So, however, social surveys are usually reliable, which means they can be repeated as much as possible, but they are not always valid. Social survey are always reliable. That means you can repeat them. But the problem about social survey is that they are not valid based on what we talked about.
Yeah, the limitation.
Yeah, based on the limitations. They are reliable. We can still do them again and again and again, but they are not valid.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Because they lack objectivity. Any question about it?
No.
So we're done with questionnaire. We're done with questionnaire, and so, which is the same as social survey.
Yeah.
No. I'm supposed to finish 8.